All right, guys, welcome to the show this week. This is Kelly at My Disney Brain, and it is certainly my pleasure to have you back again for another week. And I am really excited about our guest slash continuing content contributor today that we have for you. And I think you're going to be excited as well. I remember seeing this gentleman for the first time maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it was super exciting for me to see him in the capacity that he works with Walt Disney World. And I think if I do this right today, and hopefully I will do it justice, that you will be equally as excited to meet him and get an understanding of who he is and what he does on the Walt Disney side. So we've got an exciting show set up for you today, and I'm going to ask that you hang out with us the whole way through. Before we get started, of course, I wanted to again thank you for joining us, because you've been doing so many other things, listen to other podcasts or just simply not listen to podcasts, but you chose to hang out with us today, and I certainly do appreciate it. Each week, our numbers are going in the right direction, and I'm going to ask you this week what I asked you last week and the week before that. Continue to share our podcast with a friend or a family member or a coworker, someone I know that you know, people that are preparing for Walt Disney World trips. It's the holidays, and I know you know someone who is about to go, particularly and maybe for the first time. And we pride ourselves in providing some really good content to help folks navigate the parks and understand how to plan their vacations and maybe even save some money. Now, how do you get in touch with us to tell us how much you love the show? It's very easy to do. You can email me directly at Kelly, Kelly, at mydisneybrain.com. And I'll certainly be more than happy to answer your questions, respond to your comments, and even show suggestions. If you say, hey, Kelly, can you talk to me about, saving a little money on dinner or food throughout the parks, or whatever your query may be, included in the email, and we'll bring it onto the show and make sure that you get the support that you need. So again, welcome to My Disney Brain here. We take a brown-eyed perspective on all things Disney. And speaking of that, it is my pleasure now to introduce to you Mr. Mark Daniel. Mark is an award-winning host on Inside Disney Parks. And I hope that this is not the first time that you've heard of Inside Disney Parks. Also, the Disney Park blog live streams, Star Wars Celebration live conventions, the New York Comic-Con, Playlist Live, and he's an Emmy Award-winning Disney Parks Unforgettable Christmas Celebration as well, which, of course, probably is your favorite and mine. Now, Mark is also a local actor in the Orlando area and a stand-up comic, which that part was a surprise to me. I will tell you this, from a personal perspective, Mark, I noticed you as I have over the last few years. I listened to a lot of podcasts, Disney related, watch a lot of vlogs, certainly Disney park blogs and content that comes out from there. And what brought you to my attention, maybe the obvious, is that I said, man, I've not seen a brother in your capacity present content for Disney the way that you've done it. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Well, first of all, Kelly, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's a pleasure to be on My Disney Brain. And I want to take a moment to say I really appreciate what you do for your listeners and for Disney. So I'm glad you saw me. I'm glad I made an impact on you, and I'm glad you have me on your show.
Excellent. I'll reiterate. I was excited, and then I was a little confused. Like, is he new? Did they just hire him? I mean, has he been doing this? Have I missed this guy? How is it that he's on listen, I don't miss a Disney Christmas celebration. Mm-hmm. And I saw you also as sort of the front man for the Jingle Bell, Jingle, is it BAM? Jingle Bell, Jingle Jam?
Oh, you got it, but you got to say BAM. Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam.
So I was seeing all that, and I said, man, That's pretty awesome that, you have this particular role and it is so out front where everyone can see, which is from my perspective, where, a person with your talents need to be.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And, it's been a blessing to have that opportunity and be entrusted with the Walt Disney Company. But I got to tell you, as you see me and you see me for the first time, a lot of people don't see the hard work you do behind the scenes. So I've been with Disney for a very long time. I'm working on 26 years with the Walt Disney Company. I started off in the entertainment department. I started doing the Electric Light Parade. I don't know if
Okay.
any of your listeners are familiar with that parade. It came from Disneyland, went back to Disneyland, goes back and forth. Uh,
Yes.
but it's one of the originals.
Sure.
And I started doing the Electric Light Parade as a what was called a canopy carrier, and that was basically just one of these tall guys carrying this giant PVC material canopy that was draped with lights, and you had these beautiful
Right.
dancers dancing underneath it. So it was like this moving canopy of lights.
Okay. Okay. So,
Uh,
sort of a character role, if you will.
It was, but it wasn't. I wasn't even in the entertainment character department at that point. They actually had a split division of people that were not trained in those roles of characters, and you just did the parade, and you
Okay.
carried the canopy. Um,
Right.
and from there, I stuck with it and got into the full entertainment department. And from there, I moved into doing the Spectral Magic Parade.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, and just started working in entertainment at Walt Disney World doing parades and shows, and from there I
Right.
started working in. I first worked at the Magic Kingdom,
Okay.
and then from there I moved to, at the time, Disney MGM Studios. So I started working at the Magic Kingdom in about 1992. I was still in high school, and
Really?
yeah, and as you say, you saw me in this position when I was in high school. I was kind of known as the class clown, and I went to school in Tampa, Florida. And Disney came to like career day, and I was like kind of like the class clown, and they had like different jobs there. I distinctly remember the different branches of the military was there, and Walt Disney World. And I remember
Okay.
this lady standing there in a suit and just smiling, being friendly, and people were kind of walking by because it was in Tampa. So with Disney World, everybody knew that was in Orlando, so nobody was really going
Right.
anywhere.
Right. Right. So
Uh,
you're originally from Tampa, not Orlando.
yeah, I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago in the West Indies, so I'm an island man.
Okay.
Yeah. But then at about 12 years old, I moved to Tampa. I moved to Tampa, Florida. So here I am in high school, being the class clown, and I walk over to the table, and she says, "Hi, are you interested in working for the Walt Disney World Resort?" And I said, "Yeah, well, what jobs do you have?" She says, "Well, we have culinary service, we have custodial, we have, some different things." And I said, "No, I'm not interested." So I was trying to be funny, and they had a big brochure of Goofy was walking with some guests holding their hands in the shadow of Cinderella Castle.
Okay.
And I was laughing, and I said, "Ha, ha, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do this." And I pointed at Goofy. And all
Right.
my friends started laughing, like, "Mark's so silly. Oh, he's so stupid. He pointed at Goofy. He can't be Goofy." And
Yeah.
as everyone was laughing, she said, "Well, you can." And I said, "Huh?" She goes, "You can." So as my friends walked away laughing, I went back to her and I said, "Can you tell me a little bit more about that?"
Right.
Because I always was a class clown, and actually at in Orlando they had a place called like Circus, which is now it's now gone. They had a theme park right before you got to Orlando,
Uh-huh.
and it was called Boardwalk and Baseball.
Huh.
And then it turned into Baseball City. In fact, if you get on 20, there's a highway. If you get on that highway, all the streets are named after baseball. That's because there was a theme park there dedicated to baseball, and that
Really?
went away. And but I wanted to go to clown school because they had a clown theme park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the
Okay.
90s and in the late 80s and early 90s. And they said you had to have a certain grade point average. And I said, well, you know what? I'm interested in that. I'll do it. So again, remember, I'm going to school in Tampa. So, um, but I still was what was called a spirit representative. So I had a little name tag, and on career days, on certain days, like in school, I would represent Disney. I just had applications. and people would just kind of be like, "Hey, what's this?" I'm like, "Well, if you're interested in working at Walt Disney World, here's an application." But for the most part, nobody would actually get the application because, again, it was a long journey, and I just did it on my own.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
but
So
you know,
so
they
so you made you basically were working, as you said, for Disney in high school after you met this initial rep.
yes.
You kind of came in and became an ambassador almost, sounds like.
Yes, I was in the only Disney ambassador at my high school in Tampa, Florida. And
Really?
yeah, and most people didn't get applications. There wasn't a quota to fill or anything. They just wanted a representative with a good grade point average to represent Walt Disney World at your high
Right.
school. And if people had questions, they can ask you questions. I did answer a lot of questions, but they also had little celebrations at Disney. I remember one time they had all the Spirit representatives show up, and they put us in what was called the Eyes and Ears, which is a newspaper for cast members. And
Right.
each year they would celebrate, this is the, 1999 Spirit representative for this year. And they
Mhm.
had your high schools next to you. And it was something exciting for me to be a part of. So,
Well,
uh,
it sounds great, and you must have gone to a pretty awesome high school because I can imagine Disney coming and then folks turning it down, or just them coming to offer the opportunity
yeah.
for kids to join.
I think I was just on the outskirts of Tampa, so it might have been the furthest they would have gone, I
Right.
think.
Right.
Yeah, because what happens is the high school I went to, you could probably feasibly have people going to school from Lakeland, and Lakeland's a little closer to Orlando.
Sure, sure.
So
Yeah,
I,
we
I
we
think,
passed through on the way down. I know 75 very, very well.
okay, gotcha.
I
Okay.
know 75 very, very well. Well, let me ask you this question before I go on to the next one, just in case you get as a kid or someone listening to this
Mhm.
and they're asking this in their head. Do you think that Disney still does this? Do they still go out and recruit? Do they still go out to local high schools and beyond to see if kids are interested in joining their organization?
That's a good question. I honestly cannot answer that question confidently, but I
Mhm.
would assume they would, especially close. I know it's a little further along, but they have what's called a Disney College program.
Sure.
And they also have the Aspire program that if you already work there, you can actually go and further your degree. But I wouldn't doubt that they still have a program such as that. They probably might not have the Spirit program as I knew it back then,
Right.
but I would think they would have representatives reaching out for young people to start their career or look into starting their career at Walt Disney World.
Yeah. Again, it would be an awesome, awesome opportunity.
Hmm.
Well, let me ask you this, and I do know about the college program. I don't know if we've had a chance to talk about this. I may have mentioned it, but my daughter actually was in she was fortunate enough to be able to take part in the college program, and she really really enjoyed it. So that also is a fantastic entry point as well.
Oh yeah, you got experience with it. Yeah, we did talk about it.
Yep, yep. Let me ask you this. In terms of your and I know just so our audience knows there may be some areas where we can't necessarily deep dive into, but
Hmm.
we'll see what we can talk about and
We'll
still
skirt around
yeah,
it.
yeah, make sure you're protected. We don't want to give away any secrets or anything.
Yeah, spoil the
But
magic, as we say.
the magic, yeah. I'm very interested, and I know the audience is very interested to know, like, what's the best part of what you do, and is there a title that you can give us in terms of your particular role now? So it sounds like you've been in the company a little more than 2 decades,
Hmm.
26 years, and your role maybe have changed several times over the
Yeah.
over the years.
Hmm.
But currently, can you tell us what it is that you do, and what's the
Hmm.
best part of that?
Okay, so currently my role, what you would call my role exactly, is I'm what is called an equity actor for the Walt Disney World Resort and
Okay.
theme parks. So what that is equity, Actors Equity Association is a actors union here in Florida. And when you audition into entertainment and become an actor, you are then covered by Actors Equity. And that is also what a lot of actors are covered in when you're in New York and you do theater.
Right.
So that's what I'm covered under, and that is my official title now, which is different than when I started, when I was actually in what's called entertainment. When I was younger and in the parades and doing different shows and different things like that, then at that point I was in Disney Entertainment.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. And
This
I
is
was
all still Disney though. It's just
yes,
more.
yes. Yes,
Okay.
it is all still Disney, and I am a cast member. Even as an equity actor performer, I am still a cast member. I still have a name tag. We don't usually wear the name tags because we usually play characters. Again, like I said, we are actors, so you can go
Right.
see me in a show, and I can be, being a storyteller, or I can play a character, and his name is, his name could be, Chris or something like that. So I wouldn't usually wear my name tag, but there
Sure.
are occasions when uh, you might be doing something that is just in line with the company, and you would wear your name tag. But
I
for the
got you.
most part, yeah.
Like
So
like a meet and greet or something like that, where it's
definitely,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Or
Excellent.
a lot of times we go to, like, it might be an awards ceremony, or different things like that. We're also covered under a contract, so we have contracts. And usually they'll give you either a year contract or a 6 month contract, and that is how you work. You just don't get hired. You're actually, as an actor, you're under a contract with the Walt Disney Company, and
Okay.
usually at that contract signing is you're going to dress up and wear your name tag.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Well,
And
what's the best part in your estimation? What's the best part of your current role?
I would say the best part of my current role is getting to work with so many other and different and diverse, talented people. Um, I get to work with amazing directors, show directors. I get to work with writers. I get to work with costume people making costumes. I get to work with choreographers teaching you how to dance. I get to
Right.
work with vocal coaches. A lot of times I might do a role like I worked at Epcot, so my career as an actor is also a very long career, about 12 years. So I worked at almost every different park. I had
Sure.
the pleasure of working at Epcot, and as you know, Epcot has different countries, and so I worked in the United Kingdom. I also worked in France, and we actually had a dialect coach to help us understand the accent. So the French accent and the British accent, and so we had to deliver our lines with that accent. So I got to work with vocal coaches. Again, it's not to make you believe I'm really from England, but it's to still have the story of it and have sound like I am. And then we are a comical group of people, so we're making jokes and everything. Um,
Right. Right.
so it's not that
Well,
you need to believe I'm really from. I also worked at Disney's Animal Kingdom and had to have at times an African accent.
I was going to go there. Well, first of all, your voice is very dynamic,
Mm,
and it speaks to the integrity of what you actually do. I've done some production work here in Atlanta, and sometimes you meet folks that are in production that, maybe carrying a card only, but then other times you can tell this person is actually trained and they actually know what they're doing. So in Orlando, one thing that I've noticed, kind of going off just a little bit away from Disney,
mhm,
one thing that I noticed, and we've been coming for a number of years, and our MO has normally been, we sort of have a down day when we first get down, and it's usually out hanging out with the kids and my wife, shopping. We go to outlets, we go to Disney Springs,
mhm,
and then later on in the evening, usually me and my wife will go, somewhere on International Drive, or well, right now like Cuba Libre or Blue Martini, somewhere like that.
uh-huh,
And one of the things that I noticed is there's an onslaught of talent in
mhm,
that area. And
mhm,
I don't mean like, well, if you're in Atlanta, which is where I am, you could go to, I guess you could go to a club or somewhere and people could have a live band. And if there are 10 bands, maybe five of them are really good.
mhm,
But notice when I'm in Orlando, every time I've been at the Blue Martini, I don't know where they get these people from, but
mhm,
they could record. They could
mhm,
sell like albums and CDs. It's
mhm,
not subpar talent at all. And the
mhm,
reason I bring it up is because I'm assuming because you're there and you're in that environment that people probably flock there based on what Disney was bringing to that community, no different than what Actors Guild and all this stuff in Hollywood. I mean, maybe not to that level yet.
mhm,
I'm certain that a lot of folks that maybe don't want to go out west, maybe they come to Orlando and
mhm.
they're looking for work and hopefully are successful.
First of all, thank you for saying that, and I'm sure all the performers around Orlando really appreciate that compliment. And I'll tell you, a good friend of mine, one of the mentors I worked with, his name is Louis Gravance, and he actually came up. There's a process of training you when you work at Walt Disney World, and it's called traditions. and they
Mhm.
train you the way. And I'm sure your daughter went through traditions.
Yep.
And Louis Gravant is one of the people that actually came up with that process and that experience, that training program called Traditions. But he had
Okay.
told me a long time ago. He said, Mark, Orlando is the new vaudeville. And if you remember back in the day what vaudeville was, it was all these different acts, and it was a family, and it was something that traveled around the nation, and people had to survive, and they learned different things, and they learned it, and it was in a unique, eclectic, diverse mix of people, and you
Hmm.
would learn from those people. And I think, and I agree with Louis in what he said, because it's kind of like you said, when you work in Orlando as a performer, if you work in New York, you can just be a model. You work in
Right.
LA, you can just be an actor. You work in Nashville, you can just be a singer.
Sure.
But these theme parks, to survive, you will get multi-talented people. Like, I am a voiceover artist. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm an actor. I can do theater. And we do that because that's how we survive here in Orlando. We are jacks of all trades, not by choice, but by necessity,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right.
And what we get also too is we get Universal Studios Florida. We get SeaWorld Orlando. We get Walt Disney World, and they are competing against each other, and they want to bring shows to the theme parks, and we will get some shows that are Broadway type shows. We will get directors that have directed shows on Broadway, like Finding Nemo. The
Sure.
people who created Avenue Q brought that here to Orlando.
Wow.
And you get these fantastic people, and you get these Broadway level shows. The difference is we do it every single day. And sometimes you might do 10 shows a day, 4 shows a day, 8 shows a day. And the difference is, and you find a way to keep that fresh and keep it going and try to do the best show for the people coming from all over the world to see
Right.
your show, and it's kind of like a miniature Vegas, if you will.
Yeah. 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 A family friendly Vegas
Yes, yes.
is kind of how I see it. And I'll tell you this. You made me think of something while you were saying that. Um, my daughter, who was in the college program, she grew up. Of all my kids, she probably has gotten the most Disney so far.
Okay.
And we were in the parks a lot, and we still are. But I remember when my son was 2 years old too, and he's at Georgia Tech now. So this is how long this has been.
Mhm.
But I remember seeing The Lion King for the first time, and my son must have been 2. He's 18 now. And I got to tell you, my wife and daughter have seen it on Broadway. We saw it there at the park. I've seen it a few times. And 2 years ago, I saw it
Mhm.
again a year ago. I got to tell you, I know what's going to happen. But that
Mhm.
is one of the best shows I've ever seen. And I don't think they've changed a word of it. The
Yeah.
actors, of course, have
Yeah.
been, they come and go.
Mhm.
But that is a wonderful, wonderful show, and it has legs. And I don't know, outside of Frozen, what else has brought Disney more notoriety, more residuals than The Lion King. But to your point, to be versatile, if you
Mhm.
will, is a necessity. And you guys do it really, really well. So hats off to you and to your cohorts and other cast members there for making the shows and the environment so customer friendly. Because
Mhm.
as guests come, I've been over to Universal too, but
Mhm.
I got to I tell you what, I'll tell you this really quick story. I went on my daughter graduated high school, and we went for a cruise. It just so happened to be my mom's birthday, so we extended family type of vacation.
Mhm.
And we went on a brand new Carnival cruise line, and it was a fantastic ship. And I was so excited because whenever we go on a cruise, I fancy dressing up for dinner and then
Okay.
having dinner in the show, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the dinner was fantastic. I'm dressed to go to the show, and we get in, and Mark, it just wasn't good.
Oh no.
It just, bless their heart, I'm sure they tried their best, but it just fell flat. And I said, well, I'll come back the next night. And maybe it was just this group. I was on this 8-day cruise,
Mhm.
and I stopped going to the shows after the second night.
Oh no.
Now, conversely speaking, I've been on Disney cruise,
Mm-hmm.
and the entertainment on the cruise ship is to the same level.
Yeah.
To your earlier point, it's to the same level as it is in the park, as it is on Broadway. It is virtually the same level in terms of quality.
Yes.
And maybe I did Carnival a disservice because I did Disney Cruise
Don't do
before
Disney first.
maybe I did them a disservice.
Yeah.
Perhaps I should have went there first and did Disney later. But I had already gone on Disney, so I anticipated the quality of show that I got there, and I just didn't get it. Now it wasn't horrible. It
Yeah.
wasn't horrible,
Mhm.
but
But in
my
comparison,
expectations were high.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you this because I have seen many of your shoots, and probably I've not seen them all. So I'll ask you. You talked about the Animal Kingdom piece, and when my daughter's in the college program, just FYI, she was a lifeguard at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we spent a lot of
My
time around
favorite. That's my favorite resort, by the way.
You know what? I'm a huge Polynesian,
Oh
but
yeah,
I
it's nice.
do
That's nice
love,
too.
yeah, I love Animal Kingdom also.
Yeah.
But I did see your clips, from the work that you did over at Animal Kingdom parks. So I wanted to ask you, in terms of the shoots or even the live shows that you've done,
Mhm.
what's been the most exciting or the most interesting uh, show or shoot that you've done?
Oh, well, if we're talking about my most exciting shoot for, let's talk about Inside Disney Parks. Now, for your listeners out there, this is a show called Inside Disney Parks. You can see it on the Disney Parks has a YouTube channel, but it usually starts off on the Disney Parks blog Twitter, and then it
Okay.
goes to Facebook. So it's about a 4 to 5 minute show, very fast paced. The show actually just won a Telly for award for mixed media, so we're very proud of that. Um,
Cool.
but it's a show that's fast paced and it brings you a lot of things that's happening around all parks around the world. With a touch of nostalgia, we kind of look back at some really cool things and keeps you up to date and also takes you behind the magic a little bit. I would say one of my favorite shoots, if we're talking about inside Disney parks, um, were the specials we would do. We would do some at Halloween, and we would take you inside. So a lot of the unique specials. So one thing that I liked is we went to Disneyland and filmed, and I got to see Cars Land all decked out for Halloween, and that was a lot of fun.
Right.
And then the year after, we did Walt Disney World, and what was unique is they did a really cool effect where I was actually dressed as Dr. Facilier, and as I was
Oh,
hosting the show, Dr. Facilier was stalking me, and then he finally like possessed me, and I became Dr. Facilier, and I finished the show as Dr. Facilier for Halloween. Uh,
awesome.
so that's doing that with really fun effects. But another favorite one of mine was we did a Christmas show, and we showed you um, holiday services at Walt Disney World, and we took you
Mhm.
behind the scenes, and we
Yes.
showed you holiday services. And holiday services, if you don't know holiday services at Walt Disney World, they work backstage. You never see them, but they decorate all the resorts, all
Hmm.
the theme parks, and all the cruise ships from Orlando.
Right.
You have to imagine that. And people think they work, at the 25 days of Christmas, but they work year round.
Yeah.
They build the trees for Epcot. Epcot has a massive Christmas tree. Uh,
Right.
and the ornaments, Animal Kingdom, each park is unique. Each park has their own tree. Each resort has several trees, and that was a lot of fun to take people behind the scenes because I was impressed with these people, how hard they work all year
Yeah.
to get ready for that joyous season.
And mostly at night because that's where the magic, as they say, takes place. If you can leave the park one day and come back the next day, and the transition and this transformation has happened overnight for the
Well,
most part.
they are proud of that, and again, like I said, they work all year, and then they get ready to do this in one night. And we also did we did time lapse to let you see the changeover from Halloween to Christmas at the Magic Kingdom, and that was very fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've watched documentary after documentary, and I've got to find this. I've got to find yours, evidently, because I knew Samantha Brown did one
Hmm.
where she went behind the scenes,
Yes.
and I
Love her
can't remember.
show.
Yeah, I do too. And there was another gentleman that did one as well some years back. All this is still on YouTube. But yeah, to see these cast members working behind the scenes and the passion in which they work, I don't care if it's Disneyland or Disney World,
Uh-huh.
it's just awesome, and the quality of work that they pride themselves with is also great for it's for everyone to see, but particularly for young people. So my next question for you is in terms of well, let me ask you this way. I'm going to ask you a three or four fold question.
Okay.
I've always, of all the stuff that I see from Disney, particularly on TV, my favorite has got to be the Disney Christmas show.
Hmm.
You know, that nothing beats that morning. We always make sure we have gifts open and breakfast
Oh.
done by 10 o'clock because we know that Disney's coming on, and we sit down as a family and we always watch.
Uh-huh.
What is it like being in that environment? You know, I've been in the parks for Christmas.
Hmm.
But of course, you know, because you've been on the show, that it's not shot on Christmas Day.
No.
So it's a little different environment. What
Yes.
is it like being there with all those guests, celebrating the holidays and even being on the stage and just being in that environment? What is it like? To even be like I know you host some of the events and
Yeah.
some of the segments. What is that like?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I got to tell you something, Kelly. I've done shows in all parks here at Walt Disney World.
Hmm.
There is nothing like taking the stage at the Magic Kingdom. There's nothing like it. There's something about it. It's just,
Yeah,
it's literally the big screen. It's like if it's Hollywood, this is IMAX.
that's it. Right,
It is.
right.
This is the big stage, and there's an energy about it. There's cameras around. It's November. People know it's kind of close to the holiday season. It's
Sure,
decorated.
sure.
Something's going on. And it is just the energy. I can't even explain it because there's. I don't want to be cliche, but there's a magic in the air. You have people that came in at about 3 in the morning and they want to be a part of
Right.
the filming. They want a shot at being on camera. And
Yep.
they get there early in the morning. They're all waiting. They're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They've got their outfits on. They're ready for Christmas. As far as they're concerned, it's
It's
Christmas
Christmas.
Day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I love is when I come out, I tell everyone, I say, hey, everybody, it's Christmas Day. You're here. You are here. And what's unique about it and what they love about it is like, look, just like you said, Kelly, you have a tradition. You get your family together. You got your presents open. You're
Yep.
having some, whether you had breakfast already or you're still eating some of your breakfast that's left over. You are
Yeah.
sitting in front of that television and here it comes. And I tell
Yeah.
people, I actually explained that moment. I said, look, when we cut to you, people are looking at you going, you are there.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not, but I'm looking at you there. And you're
Yeah.
going to be looking at yourself there going, look, that's me. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just amazing. And to come out, let me tell you something, Kelly, to come out on that castle stage. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Cinderella Castle. Cinderella's been on that stage. Mickey Mouse, Tiana,
Sure.
Goofy, Boyz II Men, Seal, Garth Brooks, Ariana
Yeah.
Grande, Flo
Yeah.
Rida, Anna and Elsa. I mean, that is, like I said, that is the IMAX. That is the big stage. And to have Cinderella Castle as your backdrop is just
Right.
insane. So there's a great energy. Everybody's in a good mood. There's a bustle going on, and there's celebrities moving around. It's one of the few days that
Mhm.
there are people here. You can know that, oh, look, we're shooting. And I get to come out and I get to share that with people. Because there are people that come to the park, and what we do at Walt Disney World, first and foremost, anytime we record anything, whether it's inside Disney parks, whether it's the blog, whether it's a shoot. They could even be shooting something for a show on ABC, but they made a
Sure.
trip to Disney. Walt Disney World is very important. It's important that the guests are not disturbed. We'll tell you what's happening. There might be a
Right.
road, an area that's blocked off, but you can get around.
Sure.
And They don't want to disrupt what they call daily ops. And we have cast members that are dedicated to keep people moving, explain what's going on.
Yes.
And maybe like, on Christmas, we might not have the castle show, but we have to stop for the parade.
Right. Right.
So we really try not to disturb the experience that guests will have. So I'll come on, and for fun, like, so I need to come on during the filmings and tell the people who are just coming from Spokane, they have no idea what's going on, and say, hello, everybody, welcome to the Magic Kingdom. We're shooting the holiday special, and soon performing on stage will be Boyz II Men. And they're like, what? Boyz II Men? So if you'd like to see it, come on over, but just know you'll be on camera.
So you have not only, been on the stage, but you also act as basically you make announcements as well throughout the park to educate folks as to what's going on.
Yes, that's my job. So what my job entitles as the warm up for Disney's holiday special or holiday celebration is I am the person that will let everyone know what's going on. I corral the extras along with the assistant director, and I'll tell people what's going on. I take it upon myself from my background as a stand-up comedian of doing and also doing TV warm-up for real. I take it upon myself to entertain the crowd at those downtimes, come out and let them know what's going on, go out and talk to them, share their story. And it's a lot of fun. And it's been so successful. Sometimes the celebrities, whether it's a singer or an actor that's about to film, they'll listen. And what I do is I'll have somebody tell a story. And there's many times, Kelly, I'll tell you, there's times where I'll say, this has not happened exactly, but there's been moments like this. Let's say, Reba McEntire is going to perform. I might go out and they know, so they'll have fans out there. And there might be a lady saying, I've never seen Reba McEntire live and I'm so excited. And I'll say, well, what's your name and where are you from? Now we're talking on microphone and Reba McEntire can actually hear what's happening. Right. Because she's getting ready to go. And she's there and she might come out and say, where's Amanda? I heard you. You said you've never seen me perform live. Well, I just want to say hello to you. And that magic, it's just unbelievable. And that's what I am. I'm kind of like the liaison. I'm not saying that I'm guaranteed to get these celebrities to talk to you.
Sure.
What I'm saying is I feel that I tell you exactly what's happening. Hey, there's some downtime. Hey, there's a rehearsal going on backstage. Is some, and I fill the people in because they have committed to be there for hours, to stand
several
in the sun,
takes.
Several takes. And you know television. You've been in production. You know how that goes, Kelly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we didn't like that shot. Do it again. We didn't like it. Do it one more time. 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 And got it. One more time.
Yeah.
So my job is to keep people entertained, let people know what's going on, and also, get the crowd to do what the director wants. It's like, okay, well, this song, it's Jingle Bell, but I don't want them singing along, Mark. Okay, this one, I want them singing along. I want them clapping. Or this song, I want them to really cheer. This song has fireworks, So I'm the audience is also an actor. Yeah. So I would say I am the assistant director when it comes to
Well, listen, that I can tell you, that liaison, that crowd warm up, that crowd energy generator that you are, in order for the acts to be what they need to be, I'm sure they know, and that you have one of the most vital jobs, I think, to make that thing go. So hats off to you for what you've done. I've been able to catch some of the stuff behind the scenes. Of course, you shared some stuff with me that I was able to look at, and it's very, very impressive. And I'll tell our audience, we'll do it at the end. I'll let you obviously be able to share where they can find you and some of your content. Okay. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you, because I always, well, not always, but I think it's important. I shared with you that I do mentor some young men here in the Atlanta area, and they all happen to be African-American young men. And one of the things that we believe in my organization is exposure. You and I talked about this, one of the first times you and I met, in terms of what it means for folks to have exposure and how that can impact the kids' trajectory in terms of their career and their life. So I want to ask you two things. Number one, piggybacking off the first question I asked you about what it feels like to be on that stage. Do you feel any particular type of pressure as a person of color, as a man, to be in a position like this where so many eyes are on you? Do you feel any particular type of pressure, be it self-imposed or otherwise, to be able to provide the type of examples that I know that you would want to provide to young people, particularly those of color?
hmm Um, I think a lot of pressure I have is, like you mentioned, is self-imposed. Um, I have the benefit right now is I have a lot of support with the job I do. I'm supported by a lot of talented people. Um, and I would say that it's just the pressure is kind of on me to just do the best job I can. And another thing I promised to myself, I said if anyone ever asks me, what's it like to do what I do, and
Hmm.
how can they do what I do, I said I will do my best to help them out, because people helped me along the way.
Sure.
And so I think that, like you said, I think it's more self-imposed right now. It's just like, okay, this has to be really, I got to be really good at this, and I tend to, as a performer, just in general, we all do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This has to be right. This has to be perfect. I didn't really like that. But like I said, the unique thing about my situation right now is I am surrounded by a lot of very talented people. When I work at Inside Disney Parks, the directors and assistant directors and stuff, they've been in media. They've come from, media background. They've been on news channels and different things like that.
Right.
So I'm very well supported.
Okay. Excellent. 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 Well, I know from my perspective, I watch these shows. I have a son, and I know to be able to see men that look like him in certain areas, in certain positions, that does a whole lot. That
Yes.
that 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 does so much. So continue to do what you're doing and be
Mhm.
out there in the forefront, and so our kids can continue to see really good examples.
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to kind of turn the corner here a little bit and talk to you from the standpoint of Disney park guest. Somebody
Mhm.
that loves the parks just like I do, and just like the listeners do.
Mhm.
What was your first experience in the parks like when you first really started going to Walt Disney World and enjoying the attractions, and you're off work but you're there as a fan? What was that like?
I just really enjoyed it. It was the first time I ever went to Walt Disney World. It was a whirlwind. Like, I hadn't worked at Walt Disney World before. I think my aunt took me and my five other cousins, my brother, myself, and five cousins, and I remember I remember coming to Walt Disney World. I only remember two things. I don't
Hmm.
remember eating. I don't remember getting there. I don't remember riding a bus or a car, but I
Right.
do remember going through the haunted mansion.
Oh, you're killing me.
And listen, here's what's funny about it. I do remember two things. One
Mhm.
was, you don't need to lower the bars because I will lower them for you. And the bar went down. And
Yeah.
then I remember echoing, and a ghost will follow you home.
Oh man.
And you go through the mirrors and you see the ghosts.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
remember that night, Kelly, I'm brushing my teeth.
You're looking for the ghost.
And I'm in the mirror brushing my teeth that night, and I remember I hear the echo, and a ghost will follow you home. And I looked around that room. I was scared.
Oh man,
And the
that's
other
awesome.
thing is, I remember standing on the sidewalk and watching a parade at night.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. I did this experience, and I watched the parade, and I forgot about it. So now let's jump ahead to my job at Walt Disney World in high school. Okay.
Hmm.
I've forgotten that I've been to Walt Disney World already.
Oh.
And now I'm learning Canopy Carrier. And they tell you, okay, we're backstage where they keep the floats.
Hmm.
And I haven't heard the music. They're now showing us how to put the canopy on. Here's how you lift the canopy and you put it in this kind of like a flag carrier. You have like a little belt with a little um,
Right. Okay.
cap in it.
Yeah.
So, hoist the canopy up, we put it in, and they say, okay, you have to walk at this pace. So you're going to walk down the parade route. But we're not on the parade route. Well, again, we're backstage. And they said, so you need to get used to the music. So you will follow a float. So
Okay.
out drives in the daytime and it's in the daytime it's black, and you can see the clear lights on it. But at night you just see the lights.
Uh-huh.
So out drives this little car shaped like a turtle with glasses,
Mm-hmm.
and it pulls up and pulls in front of us, and we're standing there, and they say, okay, you're going to follow this float and listen to the music. And they click the music on, and I hear boom, 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 boom,
Mm-hmm.
boom, and literally my brain melted, and I went back to standing on that sidewalk, and the music hit me, and I said, I saw this parade
Oh, when you were a kid.
when I was a kid. And I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
and it was an amazing experience. It was just like surreal. It was a moment
Yeah.
of like, whoa, I know this.
Yeah.
And so that was my first like real cool moment of being in the park. But as a guest, I really, like I said, I'm from the islands,
Right.
and I really was drawn to the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse at the Magic Kingdom. I
Yeah.
would literally walk through that house, get off, walk through it again, get down, walk through it again, and I would hang out um in Adventureland right at the entrance. They had like where they sell the Dole Whip now, and now they have like a little, I think it's Skipper's Cantina, but it wasn't there before.
Sure. Sure.
And it had like this 2-story house with shutters on it, and it looked like houses in Trinidad. And I would literally
Oh.
just hang out there. And
Remind you of being back on the island.
yeah, it did. It reminded me of being back on the islands. And then there was a show called Magic Journeys. And it was a 3D show, and I would go watch that show. And that's what I would do. I would walk around the park. I would go walk through the Swiss Family Treehouse, ride Jungle Cruise, hang out right at those houses, watch Magic Journeys, back around, and just continue the whole time. And then I would go to work.
That's awesome. That's
And,
awesome.
and to bring it full circle really quick,
Uh,
as a Disney nerd or a Disney nerd, I watched the movie, the Swiss Family Robinson movie. I watched
right.
it, maybe 15 years ago. I didn't watch it when I was walking through the treehouse. Like I had no idea what that treehouse was.
Oh, you didn't know the
Yeah.
the show or none of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know the movie. I knew it was from a movie, and I thought it was cool, but I hadn't seen the movie to go, oh yeah, this is that house I saw.
Right.
I just enjoyed it. So I watched the movie, and lo and behold, at the end credits, it said filmed on location in Tobago.
Oh, seriously.
And I'm from Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they
That's
also had, and I also felt at home because, like you said, looking at people that represented you, the only representation at that time I would see other performers that were, that looked like me. But outside of my job, they had the 5-star steel band steel band group at the Magic Kingdom. And he was a really famous steel drummer in Trinidad. And my dad knew him. And I would
oh,
just go out and watch those guys because they all looked like me and they played the steel drum. And the steel drum is from my island. So
awesome.
that was my connection, and that's why I used to hang out.
That's a great story. That's a great story. And we don't really have time to go into it now. I can't tell you how great it is and how much we're matching up. The reason I was laughing about the Haunted Mansion, to go back a little bit, is because on episode 12, my daughters and I did our favorite memories from the park. And I told a very similar story also about the Haunted Mansion, which is so funny because when I went in those days, I don't remember how we got there, and I don't particularly remember eating either. But I did remember going to the Haunted Mansion, and we'll have to talk it later. It is a really, really great something to have in common. But we're coming up on time. Like I said, I want to be a good steward of your time, but
Okay.
this conversation is so great.
Yeah, I got a couple minutes. If you go over, it's fine.
Okay. Well, and listen, I certainly want to have you on, many more times in the future. So if we run out here today, that doesn't mean we can't do it in the future.
Definitely.
I wanted to ask you, as a guest and as a Disney nerd, as you said, what's your, again, to bring value to our listeners, what's your best advice for first-time park goers? What's your best advice for first-time park goers?
My best advice for first-time park goers is to really, really, it's best to plan. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to plan. I just want to do it. The parks are, they tend to have a lot more people, and just winging it you will
Yeah.
lose a lot. So,
Yes.
they have, when you sign up, when you get your tickets, you can pre-book your fast passes, learn as much about the app as you can. There's an app you can download
Mm-hmm. The
called My
My
Disney
Disney Experience.
Experience. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And like it's so good. And even if some people are like I don't get it. It's very easy to use. And if you don't know, you can have your kids do it. you know, but because kids get it right away.
Oh yeah.
um you know but it's really like it's about planning and getting those fast passes and booking those things, and it's a great adventure. You're going to get your magic bands and it's a nice build up, but I would say use the tools that they have for you,
Yeah.
because what it's going to do is going to cut down on a lot of stress.
Yes.
You can book, let's say with the fast pass, you can book 3 attractions,
Mm-hmm.
and they give you time to book 3 attractions. And within that, you can go in between. You might walk past an attraction. It's like only a 20-minute wait, and you still have to wait another hour before your next fast pass. That's your time.
Right.
You can check that out, or you can check out a show. So what I'm saying is, if you plan, you can slow down and enjoy the stories of Walt Disney World, the stories of the parks you're in or the location you're in. You can catch some little surprise entertainment that you've never seen before,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
will add to your experience and be part of those memories where you say, you know what? I don't remember much, but I do remember those guys that came out and did these flips. I don't remember
Yeah.
much, but this really funny guy came out and he said he lived in this tree and then
Yeah.
he got my name. So, then you can really enjoy those moments. So I
Yeah.
would say definitely take your time, because what I see a lot, and I've been in the parks for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and especially right as Fast Pass was coming up and some people weren't really used to it yet, you will find that you will get a group of people, and it's normal. You're in a park. It might be new to you. So you go into an attraction. And what happens just naturally is we are social people. When that show ends and everyone walks out, there'll be a group of people in the front that says, I don't know, I'm going to walk this way. And you will
Right.
notice the whole group of people will
Just walk.
follow that group. And then that group will just maybe get in line to, let's just get in line to the teacups. And they
Yeah.
all will get in line to the teacups. Now that line gets really long.
Yeah.
And what happens is people tend to move in groups and not really realize it.
That's interesting. I've not paid attention to that, of course,
Hmm.
but I agree and I echo what you're saying. We talk about it all the time when we're doing podcasts that are designed to help audience plan, and we always say buy your tickets in advance so that you
Yeah.
can plan and get the fast pass. And I tell people, and you said it greatly, is that um, this is not Six Flags, folks.
Hmm.
This isn't Six Flags, and you if you approach it that way, you're going to spend a lot of time in the queue.
Yeah.
And I try to tell folks, the more planning you do, because technology has taken Disney to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
There was a time when you could go to the park, especially in what was considered downtime. I don't even think there's a downtime anymore. But
Hmm.
January to March, you could go and kids are in school and it's supposed
Hmm.
to be cooler or cold. And you could just, wander around and be spontaneous. I think
Hmm.
it's very dangerous for folks to spend the amount of money they're spending to get to Walt Disney World and not plan.
No.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to have a good time, but if you don't plan, you're planning to not have a good time, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
we want to help folks, and you hit the nail on the head. My Disney experience is the way to go.
Hmm.
And we just did another show from D23, the updates, and I know there's a new app that is coming out that's going to help folks. It's
I think it's called Genie.
Genie, yeah, Disney
Yeah.
Genie. There you go.
Hmm.
That is designed, like you said, people still are coming unprepared, and the
Hmm.
Disney Genie is designed to help guide those folks who, for whatever reason, have made it to the parks and don't have a clue of what exactly it is that they want to do, and they can just say, "Hey, I want to have a Princess Day," and the app is designed to lead them and guide them through princess experiences and rides and character interactions and these sorts of things. So I know Disney's doing all that they can to help the guests have a good time.
And like you said, I don't know much about the Genie, but what you said is very interesting. I want to learn about it more now. But like you said, it's for people that are just kind of showing up, because some people will buy a 1 day ticket and just kind of think they can walk around. And it's like, if you don't know, first of all, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's not easy to get around, and you're going to try to find things, and and you're going to waste a lot of time just trying to rush from place to place, and you're going to miss a lot of stuff. Disney's
Yeah.
built not on. I'm going to use what you said. It's not Six Flags. It's not like over here we got Superman, and over here we got
Yeah.
Batman, and over here we got the Joker. If you need to get to him. No,
Right.
Disney's built on story.
Yeah.
It's built on story. Like, where am I? I'm in Fantasyland. What's about Fantasyland? I'm in Tomorrowland. What's about Tomorrowland?
Right.
And it's about that unfolding story. A lot of people don't even know this, but I want to point this out. When you walk in, and the Magic Kingdom is a good example of that, but everything at Walt Disney World starts with a story.
Mm-hmm.
But and the Magic Kingdom is my favorite because it's based off of Walt's vision.
Sure.
And people don't know this, but I want to tell you and your listeners, if they already know, they already know. But if you don't, back in the day, the credits were always at the beginning of films.
Yeah.
The credits were in the beginning of films. You'd watch all the credits roll, and then the film would play. And then when it ended, it just ended, and that's how the Magic Kingdom is designed. It is designed, it's a show, and that's what it's about. Everyone is putting on a show, and that's why we're all called cast members. It's a show, no matter what it is. If you work in custodial, you're putting on a show. If you work in maintenance, fixing the teacup when it's not working right, you're putting on a show. You're part of the props department. That's the idea.
Right.
We have mirrors backstage that say everybody neat and pretty. Because we're walking on, and that's why we say we're on stage. And that's why each ride is not called a ride, it's called an attraction, like a coming attraction. So when you walk into the Magic Kingdom, when you walk in, and if your listeners don't know this is a little part of the story. When you walk into the Magic Kingdom under the train station, you will notice that there are posters on the wall. Each poster is an attraction because it's a coming attraction.
Great.
You'll see a poster for the Haunted Mansion. You'll see a poster for Splash Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk onto the sidewalk is red because that is the red carpet. Right. So now you're walking into a premiere. And as you walk down Main Street, USA, you will see all these names on the windows up above, people, different things like that. Those are the credits of the film that you're about to see.
Sure.
And that's the idea. And as you walk and you see that castle, that's your opening shot. And then you got the opening shot. Let's talk about Lion King. What's the opening shot? That rising sun, right?
Right.
What's the opening of Star Wars? Everybody knows that crawl.
Yep. Yep.
And so you watch the crawl, and then it takes you where you need to go, where you're going to be when those crawl happens. Are they going to zoom down to a Star Destroyer? Are they going to take you right down to a planet? So now you make your choice. You walk in. There's the castle. Opening shot. Now, what are you going to choose? You're going to go to Fantasyland? You're going to go to Tomorrowland? You're going to go to Adventureland? It's your choice. And that's what I like about it. So, it's all about storytelling.
That's great. And listen, I appreciate that information, and I'm sure the audience does as well. We know what it's like to get into those queues and be told the story and be prepared to get on these attractions. It makes attractions so much more enjoyable. So, Mark, listen, but it has been an awesome opportunity to meet you first of all, but to have you on the show has been really great. And I hope that this is not the last time. I've got tons of more questions that I can ask, and I know the audience is enjoying this as much as I am. So you are always invited back. You and I talk offline about how to get you back and maybe constant content contributor. I know you're a busy man down there in Orlando, but listen, thank you so much for sharing, about yourself, about Disney, and advice and the additional commentary that you're able to give us and educate us on how Disney works is greatly appreciated. Let us know, Mark, where we can find you and where we can follow you and where we can like you on Facebook or subscribe to your blogs or whatever the case may be. Let us all know where are you on social media.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You can learn more about me on my IMDb, and I'm just Mark Daniel. You see a lot of my film work and my TV warm-up work. Also, I have my own website, which is markdanielcomedy.com, where you can see a little bit about my stand-up. I've been a little busy, so I've kind of put the stand up on the back burner, but I still do a lot of improv around Orlando. You can follow me on Twitter, and that is at LOL, the number 4, Mark Daniel. That's at LOL 4, Mark Daniel. The same is on my Instagram, and the same is on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of little funny videos and stuff, whether it's Star Wars or Disney, or I take you behind the scenes while I'm doing Inside Disney Parks. And that is YouTube LOL for Mark Daniel. And if I could just say really quick, LOL, basically, as we all know, your listeners know, that means LOL, that's laugh out loud. And I have a little brand, which is LOL for life. I really believe that positive laughter helps you live a longer, healthier life. So that's my brand. I make little bracelets and things like that. But anyway, it's really inspired by my grandmother from Trinidad and Tobago. She lived to be about 104 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
She laughed every day of her life. She told stories up to 104 years old. You could still hear her giggling through the house. So it's a philosophy I really believe in. So that's my LOL for life. Again, laughing out loud for life. And I really believe that, we need to spread positive laughter. Just making somebody smile can make all the difference in the world. So again, thank you very much, Kelly, for having me on my Disney Brain.
Well, again, thank you for being a part. I think everyone would agree with what you said. And it's been very informative for the audience, for myself, and I look forward to having you back. Mm-hmm. Guys, thank you for tuning in again this week. Mark's a great guest, and I'll try my best to have him on as much as possible moving forward, because I feel like a lot of untapped information and experiences there that we want to tap into and learn from and just listen to. I can tell you're a great storyteller as well. So guys, follow My Disney Brain. If you're not doing so already, you can subscribe to our blog. You can just simply go to mydisneybrain.com and subscribe there. The bell will go off, or the email will go directly to your inbox. You won't have to go looking for the blogs. There's a lot of good information on our blogs. If you are planning to go in this fall season, this holiday season, I know many of you are, there's a lot of good information about how to plan to save money, how to plan to be productive in the parks. You've heard what a 26-year veteran of the park has stated in terms of his best advice, and that is part of our advice as well. Go back, listen to some of our other podcasts, certainly subscribe to our blog, and it will help you out as you go to the parks this fall. Also, like us on Facebook. We're going to post as much of Mark's information as I possibly can post out there. We're going to put out his videos there so you can see. We're also going to put his social media links and different things out there so that you can link out to his information there, and certainly go and follow him and support him in any way that you can. If you're in the Orlando area, certainly follow and support him there. Also like us on, follow us on Instagram. Instagram is where we try to post as much as we can in terms of news and updates as it relates to the parks as well. We also get you some nice footage and video, maybe even some vintage video out there as well, so that you can enjoy. Get your little Disney fix throughout the day. Guys, it's been my pleasure to host again. I appreciate you being with us this week. I look forward to talking to you again next week. I hope you are in the middle of a great day, in the middle of a great week, and in the middle of a great month. So I will talk to you soon. You guys have a magical day. Thank you.